For more on all this and the U.S. economy, we're joined by Ryan Patel. He is the authority on global business and political economy and serves as a senior fellow with the Drucker School of Management at Claremont Graduate University. Good to see you, sir, and welcome to the show. Let me start with this. Good news seems to be bad news, and bad news seems to be good news. And let me explain, is we've had a ton of bad news the last 5 days, and the market seems to like it. So what am I missing?
Let's just not talk about any kind of news. That way we don't have to decide what it is. I mean, I think part of not what you're missing or what I'm missing, I think part of it is there's been stability of maybe kind of no news or more not so much as bad news, that people are starting to kind of have that ability to understand or read through what the Fed is actually going to do, increase interest rates. There's less noise, if you can believe that or not, of getting to that goal. It's clear that they're going to do that, and I think maybe I believe the markets are finding that steady. And even with some new news, as you mentioned, some of the commerce data that just recently came out, even with a poor a second quarter data, third quarter coming up, consumer spending as a whole is still increased from a personal consumption level to 3.1%, better than most estimates at 2.7%. So there's some signs of kind of contradicting of what's going on, but there's some signs of recovery.
Right, but the Fed said that they're going to step on the gas to drive up interest rates until this inflation stuff is stepping. I think I saw like 2 or 3 50-point rate hikes. I mean, this is like I haven't seen it in my lifetime. I will say that, and it seems a little crazy, and the market seems to be okay with it so far. Again, I feel like we're not explaining this to the American public or the global public, because they must be scratching their heads thinking there's all this terrible news, yet it's not that bad.
Well, no. I mean, let's not get this twisted. Last year, the Fed came out and said it was transitory, if you recall, in the summer of last year.
And they were wrong.
And so this is why we're at today. Let's just be honest. Why are they putting on the pedal right now? Is because, well, they didn't have a choice. If you kind of, again, hindsight is 2020. I get it. I'm not picking on anybody, but when you could have done this in tranches that doesn't affect as much. But because where we're at, Phil, the global audience is going. I mean, most people are going, okay, yeah, this makes sense because, like you just said, you missed the boat last year, and now you got to play catch up. If you're playing catch up.
We play catch up. We got the conflict in Europe. Oil prices are crazy. I mean, it is very high. I mean, I think the highest for Americans ever that I can remember. And then we also can't forget about China. We've got supply chain disruptions that's also adding to the inflation problem as well. So you've got multiple factors, of which there must be some silver lining in all this that's causing us to not panic.
That's a great question. I mean, I think we've gone through a lot for the last couple years. I mean, I think panicking is now to another level now, okay, compared to 2 years from going to lockdowns to families. I think I don't say we're back out to normalcy, but I think many are used to dealing with some obstacles now, unfortunately. And you were talking about supply chain issues. I mean, many corporations and businesses are now not say used to, but okay, this is not option A. I got to now go do option B, option C, option D. 2 years ago, Phil, nobody was even looking at that. And so I'm not saying that they're used to it, but I think they're a little bit more calmer in dealing with these obstacles. And you're right. I don't even think we're addressing the supply chain issue just yet. And that's going to be part of the slower recovery, because you can't just turn that on. It's not like we're going to go back to where we were 2 years ago. And
right.
It has a long-term effect.
One of our producers, we'll call him George, he was looking for a car, okay, a new car. Went to this dealership, went to that dealership, and every single one of them told him it's going to be 4 weeks, it's going to be four weeks, 8 weeks to get a car. We can't even get cars right now, and not to mention the price of used cars. So things are certainly not normal. What do we tell people like George who are looking to buy what we consider durable goods or a relative investment out there? Are they supposed to wait 6 months till things get better, or you just go for it and start shopping?
Well, George, you're going to end up having to pay a little bit more than you did 6 months ago, unfortunately. The supply-demand economic curve is there. and that's why the prices are going up. There's a limited shortage of it, even in used cars. So even if George wanted a new car, couldn't get it, had to pay above sticker price. Now, if George wanted a used car, it's still above price because there's this lack of limited ability. And back to the point, Phil, those who have cars are less willing to sell cars because then they have to go buy a new car.
Right. Very quickly, I've got to let you go here very quickly. What are you worried about in the next 4 weeks here? What data should we be looking at?
Well, I think there's two points. Obviously, you want to continue to see the GDP number and see if it's going to come close to estimates. But I think keep an eye on consumer spending and the jobs still. It's to see if there's any dips or if it stays strong. I mean, that's a strong indicator. And obviously the inflation interest rate to see how the market does. But again, those are the key indicators that I'm paying attention to see if there's any weakness or any strength in any of them.